In order to add these tolerance and value for our assignment, we have two choices. Either we can select dimension or we can select hole and threads. If is created with the hole feature. Only if we have created with the hole feature is the best, we could select this one, which in this case we have done that. We have created the hole using the hole feature. If I create the hole with the circle option and use the extrude cut, then I had no choice to use dimension value. But for the pin or the shaft, that's the only choice we have, selecting the dimension, because it's not created with the hole feature, because we created a circle and we extruded. So that's the only way we created this shaft. So just keeping that in mind. So we have these two options to add these tolerance and value. As we did in the previous assignment, you go to the table and select those values for RC3 tolerancing and RC6 tolerancing for shaft and hole, for pin and hole. Let's start doing the hole first by selecting the hole and thread feature and select this one and then add dimension. Right now it shows 0.13 because I have only 2 decimal places and rounding off to nearest point. We are going to change that by double click on this. The first thing I'm going to change is to go to precision and tolerance, and you see this dialog box. In case first you see this one like this, expand them, clicking on this double arrow, and you see the entire thing. Make sure uncheck this box that says use global precision. Uncheck that box. Allows you to change the values here by selecting the tolerance box. For the primary, we need 3 decimal places to display this clearly. For the tolerance, depending on what the value, how many decimal places. I know in this case we're going to need minimum of 4. And that depends on the value you select from the table. For this hole, which size of the hole is, we know is 1.125, 1 and 8, and it's RC3. We are going to get the value from the table for the RC3 for the hole. RC3 for the hole. We have between 0.24, 0.4, which falls on plus 6, plus 0.1. I'm reading the wrong value, sorry. For 1.25, which is between 0.71 and 1.19, which would be 1 and 1.8, 1 and 1.25. So if you come back here for RC3, we are going to read this value for RC3, which is plus 8 for the hole, and the upper value, lower value is 0. So we divide this 0.8 by 1000, move the decimal places to the left 3 times, 3 decimal places would be 0.008. So remember that value and just type on this upper value 0.008, 3 zeros 8, and the lower value in this case is going to be 0. So but the method we're using is the stacked limits. Select that, and lower value is 0. I don't have to change that, and accept them. So that's all you need to do for that hole. That should be correct. Okay, so that is taken care of. So for the shaft, or in this case the pin is, we need to go to select that value for that. So I have the table. If you select the table value and come back to add dimension. So for that, I do have table value here. We select that. RC6. Select RC6. And the size of this is 0.24. It falls between 0.25 rather, between 2.4 and 0.4. The value for RC6, we have the shaft Don't forget that this is a pin, not select the whole. So it would be -1, -1.9. So divide these two values in 1000, and because it's negative, we are going to subtract even for upper value, and for this one also we're going to subtract. So subtract these two values to get upper and lower values. So to do that, again, our choice is to select dimension only, and select these 2 points, add dimension, and then select the precision and tolerance tab from this menu, and select the limits stacked. And here the only difference between this and this, on this we just type the tolerance value. Here we have to do the math ourselves. In other words, the upper value would be what I'm reading on that table, usually plus this. But in this case, because it's negative value, I'm going to subtract. So subtract 0.25 from -1, which we divide by 1000 would be 0.001. That's going to give us 0.249. So I need to type that value exactly, 0.249. And the lower one was 1.9, which divided by 1000 would be 0.0019 minus 0.25, minus 0.25, minus 0.25 minus. You subtracting those two values would be, the value that you get is 2481. Okay, because it's the 4 places minimum I need to display the entire thing, I need to change tolerancing number of decimal places to 4 minimum. So that would display your value here, and say OK, and then come back and other information by double click again, go to the text and add the value 8 times x, and then press enter to type the other notes that you need to type here, equally spaced, and any note that you want to add and modify that. So OK, and that takes care of your pin dimension, in this case using the shaft tolerancing of RC6 and RC3 for the hole. And that's how we add those tolerance values.